The original Dead Space is easily my favorite game in the Dead Space franchise. I absolutely adore almost everything about it, from its gritty, disgusting industrial aesthetic to its iconic monster designs. Oh, and the engineer armor, don't get me started on this. I have a picture of it framed at the end of my bed so I can wake up in the morning and gaze upon its beauty and design. Anyway, I love Dead Space 1 so much to the point that I'm actually recreating the plasma cutter room in Unreal Engine 5 for a university project. It's a very epic room, what can I say? Dead Space 1 is definitely up there with some of my all-time favorite horror games, so seeing the announcement back in 2021 that it was getting a remake, well, I was pretty bloody chuffed, let me tell you. Well, now it's 2022 and the release for the game is basically just around the corner, and they have shown us a lot more of the remake. With it being a remake rather than a remaster of the original, it means that the developers get a chance to make some genuine improvements and some creative changes that they think are improvements. But to me, they seem like some of the stupidest changes that might ruin the game for me personally. Now, let me explain. One of the biggest issues I have with the remake so far is how they introduce enemies in it. To be specific, Flaps over here. I don't know the name of it. In the original Dead Space, when you enter the morgue, you see the weird Flap necromorph doing something to a dead body behind a window. You've never seen this before. You've seen normal necromorphs up to this point, but not this thing. So out of curiosity on your first playthrough, you see what it does to the dead body. And to your surprise, Mr. Flaps over here is what is creating the necromorphs out of dead bodies scattered around. In fact, it creates a beefed up necromorph. The newly formed necromorph jumps up and breaks the glass, charging at you. This whole time you've been in control of Isaac too, making it feel like you are the one seeing this dynamically, rather than the game forcing it down your throat. You could literally just turn away and not see the scene at all if you wanted to. It makes repeat playthroughs great too, because it doesn't waste your time. Now, in the remake, they have completely overhauled this scene in a bad way. They turned it into this stupid dragged out cutscene that just completely halts the game to show you what the Flap does to dead bodies. It feels like the developers think we're stupid or something, and will miss the scene naturally.
It's also possible to miss that transformation in the original. You could walk into the morgue and just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna look at what's over there.
I mean, we are stupid, but like, we aren't that stupid, fellas. Come on, we're not all Dark Side Phil.
Oh, come on, you know what? This is fucking mad annoying. I can tell the whole game's gonna be like this too.
The scene plays out in the morgue again, and has Isaac trying to take a rig off the captain's dead body, and in this really long part where he's just walking up to the dead body. Is this needed? He's ambushed by the specimen, which injects itself into the dead body, knocking Isaac to the ground. The body is dropped on him as it slowly transforms into a necromorph. It has to slowly get up and scream as well, instead of, I don't know, killing Isaac there and then. It gives Isaac time to grab a fire extinguisher with kinesis to stun the necromorph. All of this happens in a cutscene with absolutely zero input from the player, and it lasts 44 seconds. Now, I know that doesn't seem long, but trust me, in the moment, it'll drag, especially on repeat playthroughs. I don't know what it is about the game industry now having to shoehorn in so many goddamn pointless cutscenes, stripping control from the player. If you want to make a film, then make a fucking film. Why is God of War on the screen? I said I was gonna stop making fun of it. Get it off. Stuff like this will kill repeat playthroughs, and games like Dead Space are supposed to be super replayable. Resident Evil Village had this issue too with its fucking opening. If you played, you know. If I have to carry that fucking baby up the stairs one more fucking goddamn time. The best enemy introductions in horror games are always the ones where the player is in control. Like, for example, Laura from The Evil Within. You aren't introduced to this spindly twat from a stupid ass cutscene. No, you just waddle down a corridor and she comes out of a dead body just lying there. If you wanted to, you can just stand there in absolute shock like I did the first time. Not the best idea though. Another example is the regenerator from Resident Evil 4. Actually, that reminds me, don't fuck up this amazing introduction in the remake, Capcom. Another gripe I have with the Dead Space remake, which is very personal to me, is I don't like how Isaac has a voice now, which I know is gonna be a very unpopular opinion.
Guess you really miss her. Fisherman is not a job you turn down.
I never liked how he was in Dead Space 2, and especially in Dead Space 3. Don't get me started on how insufferable he is in Dead Space 3. In the original Dead Space, all you could hear was his heavy breathing, an occasional scream of pain if he was hit. Yeah, it wasn't realistic, but it made me feel like I was Isaac, resulting in me feeling far more tense in this fucked up place. He was like a vessel for the player. What makes this worse is Isaac seems to take his helmet off during interactions with other characters too, which I already know is gonna be a fun, stilted, shitty moment where you can't move at all and just have to listen. And why does Isaac look like Adam Sandler now?
Waiting for them to play Gangnam Style.
Will any of these issues make the Dead Space remake bad? Honestly, no. The title is kinda clickbait and over-exaggerated, but hey, I have to feed my guinea pigs somehow, fellas. I know for a fact that I'm still gonna enjoy the Dead Space remake despite any of the issues I have, and I am very excited for it to come out. Right now, though, I definitely prefer the original. I hope this changes, though. Please prove me wrong, fellas. Please make me love this remake more than the original. I want to love it more than the original, but you're not doing a very good job so far.